Well, welcome to the show. So, thank you for joining, and I'm really excited to have you here. We got a lot to talk about today. We
Yep.
do.
Thank you for having me. My name's Scott Oliver. My Instagram is Cato the Kia Stinger. It's right back there. Um, I got into cars when I was a little bit younger, but I got a little more serious when I decided to purchase a bright yellow Kia. Found that the community was new. The people were very interested and
Right,
excited
right.
about having their Kias. So it was my first opportunity to take the car community a little more seriously, go to more shows, and actually be part of the show versus being an onlooker.
Right, right. What would you say kind of got you started into cars?
I would say it started with my older brother. He's about 3 years older than me, and growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, we actually played with these things called toys. They were, you picked them up and stuff. They weren't video games.
Toys? What's that?
Yeah,
What?
right. It's a
What?
thing. It is a thing. He was very much into Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, slot car racing, all that stuff. And I wanted to play with my bigger brother.
Right.
So he was always excited when it came to me being interested in playing with his toy cars, and he was very knowledgeable and much more car oriented than I was, at least at the time. So that was the opportunity he had to teach me, and
Mhm.
it wasn't just I want the red one. He was like, no, that's a 67 Corvette. So he got me interested at a very young age, and first sort of car show I would go to, say, hey, we're going to check out some cars. You want to come along? And I always really appreciated that.
Mhm.
And then when he got his first car, was a '86 Cutlass. He was working on it and wanted to show me, all those things. It was a nice bonding experience. And
Mhm.
then very quickly, I developed my own interests, and it was always a nice opportunity to, over the years, sort of, touch base and hang out that way.
So, do you still have those moments with your brother?
Yes, actually, and it increased over the years since getting Cato. Although he would help me with my oil chains and spark plugs for my 2000 Sentra and whatever else I had. Over the years I did have other cars, and he would help me with it. But when I got the Stinger, uh, which he was the one who told me about a Kia concept car back in 2011, that was pretty
Mhm.
amazing, and I was like, oh, if they ever make that, I'm gonna get it. It's like, no, you're not. But nowadays, and since I got Cato, he is one of the uh, my biggest supporters. A lot of my modifications were done with him.
Mhm.
We work on it. He'll say he built Cato. That's his. He likes to think he built Cato, but not necessarily the case. He helped. He supported me in some of the trickier
You gotta give him
modifications.
credit. Come on.
Oh, he gets some credit. He gets some.
What would you say made you kind of fall in love with now? Just the whole car scene, racing. What got you into that now? Because of course you had the bonding with your brother, but then what even transitioned you into now saying, I think I might have to get behind the wheel.
That's a great question. Although I was always interested in cars, and I've had many. I like taking them to car shows, and I was always a big fan of going to events, but never
Hmm.
really taking part because I didn't feel, they say what, respect all builds. I was like, I'm not even sure I respect this Sentra, with rust on it. So, um, what ended up happening was when I decided I'm finally going to buy a new car. I had a bunch of used cars. I was like, it's going to be something I really do want, and
Hmm.
something that I'm excited about, and something I could learn at the ground level.
Right.
You could buy a bunch of great cars, but a lot of stuff is already out there. You already know about it. You know what to expect. I wanted to experience it like I was getting my first car, and I ended up researching, a car that they said Kia was making. It was ended up being the Stinger. It was a few years prior, and sort of magically it aligned fairly perfectly. And I thought that was a really good sign. And I was like, you know what? I think there's a reason I should be getting this car.
Right.
I wanted to get a gray one because I was like, it's a great color, and people know me for being a little bit, um, not flamboyant, but I don't care. Like, stuff doesn't, you can look at me, you can not look at me, it doesn't bother me. And I
Yeah.
pulled up, and I was like, there's a yellow one right there. And my wife was like, you're gonna get the yellow one, aren't you? I was like, I am going to get that yellow one.
I know that's right.
So everything, but what ended up happening is everything really fell into place. It was just very easy. Like,
Hmm.
these were ideas. In 2011 or 2012 in Germany, they showed the concept GT, and I was like, I'm gonna get that. And then in 2014, they showed something that looked closer to that. And I was like, I'm still getting that, all as a joke. And then my brother sent me the link. He was like, they're selling them. It's coming out. Are you going to get that? I was like, shoot, I'm going to get that.
I would say, even for myself, Kias back in the day were not the cars that you're like, oh, this is the car that we're going to go to, especially not for racing. It is not something that you thought of because they go so fast. And I never knew that until I think probably I started following like people like yourself and one of my other friends who I know you also follow, Mental Case.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's another Stinger
Mm-hmm.
person. So it's kind of like I see how you guys move through the street. So it's like, don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Kia has done some things. So what can you even tell us about like the modifications that you even have outside of what they originally put in the car?
That's also a really really good question. And when you say us moving to the streets, I believe you mean the streets of Mexico, where it's allowed.
Yes, the streets
Yeah,
of Mexico,
I
not in Jersey.
I observe all the traffic rules.
All laws.
Um, I assumed, well, and rightfully so, that the Stinger out of the box would have been exact what I wanted. It's 365 horsepower, top speed of like 167. I'm not going that speed, but it did check off all the boxes. When I was talking to the people that I would talk to about, my needs for a car, and that includes my wife, my family, they were like, "Well, you like all-wheel drive. You want four doors, and you want something that has some get up and go power." And the Stinger did check off all those boxes, and some of them it checked off pretty hard, particularly the horsepower. I knew
Right.
it's a 3.3 V6 twin turbo,
Crazy.
so I knew it's going to have all of the power I ever wanted, and I wanted something that I would have felt happy with, not changing at all. Maybe lowering it, maybe adding some tint,
Right.
and I got that. Uh, it ended up changing, and you know what happens when you get the bite. As soon as you do one modification, it is all over.
It never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends.
So it was comforting though getting a car that I knew was exactly what I wanted, because I knew anything extra I did would just be the cherry on top. But if I didn't do anything, I was going to
Yeah.
be very satisfied. That comfort level was nice because I got to enjoy the car right out the gate. I didn't have to run to do anything before I was able to think of it as my car. And that level of comfort made it just much more easy for me
Right.
to feel comfortable, going forward. And I've modified a lot since.
So what would you say maybe like your top 2, 3 modifications that you put on your car?
Well, the first one would be something literally as simple as an intake, and that's because that was my first modification, and that started the problem that I have now. Um, and it obviously provides some performance, and it sounds a little bit better. So that was a big one, and that's very nostalgic for me. Then my first power performance mod, which ended up being the JB4 by Burger Motorsports,
Okay.
because that is what took me from being a car at the track that surprises a lot of Mopar people,
All right.
to
Okay.
the
This is starting
car.
to get a little
Okay,
I'm a
surprises.
little hot over here
We'll
now.
just all right, we'll do that again. Surprises many of the Mustang people. The Mustang people.
Now you switch me.
Is that better?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
I'm very glad you switched and you didn't say Mopar twice.
Yeah, no.
So that was smart. Okay.
I'm actually a huge fan of Mopar. I am.
Well, you have to be. You're on my show.
There you go, right? But that's what took me from being a yellow Kia that surprised people to being a yellow Kia that just at the track destroyed some people.
Right.
And that helped me elevate my sort of notoriety in a very small community, the niche community of the Stinger, and even the G70, which then helped me get some partnerships and sponsorships, because the rule was I wasn't going to put money into modifications. And although I did purchase my K&N intake, after that it's been partnerships with everyone.
And I'm actually really glad you said that because that's a nice thing to, be able to say that you can do, where you don't have to really put in money into your car. The balance of Kias to maybe other cars,
Oh yeah.
it's not equal. So to be able to say that, you're able to get those sponsorships and partnerships, that's amazing. Like that's dope. So
Yeah, I'm very
Kudos to
I was
you.
very fortunate, and it
Yeah.
did work out, or it was very useful that it is a very small niche community. And when I got into it, which was very early on, people would go to the track to test it out, but I went to
Mhm.
the track and did really well my first stock run,
Nice.
and decided, you know what, I want to go faster, and I have no problem. I'm a shameless self promoter. I have no problem telling people that if I promise you something, I will at least try really hard to
Right.
fulfill that promise. And who doesn't like teaming up with someone who's going to work really hard? So I found the
Mhm.
people who put faith in me,
Right.
and I just chose not to let them down.
Your first new car, everything. So to have that journey, I mean, that's a really cool journey when you think about it. Just to know, small niche, you got your partnerships, you got everything that you really wanted out of it. So at least so far, because there's a lot of room to grow.
Oh, absolutely. That is the plan. When it comes to social media, that was my first social media page besides MySpace and a personal Facebook. So
You're dating yourself.
I am dating myself. But I had decided that I didn't want to be too attached to likes and follows. So I never wanted a personal like IG, and I didn't want to be too attached to the either the accolades I get
Mm,
or the detractors, the haters. So it's one of the reasons I made it Kato's page. And for a very long time, when I commented as if I was Kato. That was a big thing,
yeah.
which many people thought I was a little crazy, but I believe was a little thing that set me apart and let people know that I'm literally having fun. Like there's no
Yeah.
doubt that I'm gonna have a good time, because if you can't have a good time with cars, then you're doing it wrong. You better drive to work because you shouldn't be driving anywhere else.
I understand, of course, the people who want to keep their car and sit, but I want to go with my baby,
Yes.
my daily. So we're in
Yep.
it all the time. So it's one of those things where you're just like, I really enjoy driving this car. I do. I mean, with
Absolutely.
the money you put into it. Well, not you actually, not the money you
Well,
really put into
well,
it.
gas is expensive, and going to the track, that's one thing I actually had to let people know. Like, you get all this free stuff. I'm like, well, I do work hard for this, but the reason before I was able to get any kind of performance mods, I was going to Atco, may it rest in
I
peace,
know.
twice a week for months and months and months, and that included getting race fuel. So I started calculating how much I invested in the racing part, and then I stopped and said, I don't want to look at that number anymore.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
So, would you ever get back on the track?
Yes, and it's hard for me not to go. I think the Atco closing, and the way it closed and how I was
Mm,
involved with some of the situation that happened, kind of broke my heart a little bit, because I grew up going to Atco. That was the
mm.
track I would go to see people go
Yeah,
fast,
yeah.
and I liked being there. I liked the people I met there. I liked how close it was. But it came at a good time, because I did decide I need to give Cato a rest. He
Mm,
was, I mean, he had no problems. There was no problems with him,
yeah.
but he was racing a lot. And before I race, I have to practice my launches, and I was counting through my slips that I got from Atco, and there's over 500 slips, 500 launches at the track, not including all the launches I would have to do in Mexico in order to
Hmm.
practice. I want to keep him at least somewhat healthy at 80,000 miles.
So, what is your fastest time on the track?
Okay, so at the track with slips, the fastest I had, which was the world record at the time, was 11:16, and that was
Mm.
at I think trap speed was 127, and the 60 foot was 1.58 with just under 3 seconds to 0 to 60. That was my best actual track time with slips, racing for the record. Um, Using draggy, I've been a little bit faster. I've broken into the tens. Uh, that's not something I advertise, because people are like, well, my draggy says, like, no, I don't play video games. Go to the track. So I used to jokingly disrespect draggy,
Hmm.
although I respect draggy heavily.
Yes.
It is very accurate. So yeah, it's a 11:16. I'm not against people, enjoying their cars out in public, so long as they do it as safely as possible. But what I found at the track is that anxiety,
Mm.
knowing, when you're on the street, you're breaking the law, you're putting potentially more people at
Right,
danger.
right.
Getting rid of all of that anxiety made it just a lot of fun, and I didn't have to worry about
True.
once the race was over. Like, okay, did anyone see that? I'm hoping people see it, you know, because none of them are going to be pulling me over. So
Yeah.
that feeling, it changes the experience you have. Plus, it has you respect. Me personally, it had me respect the importance of not being so crazy on on the
Mm.
highway. I mean, I have gotten up to some pretty high speeds. COVID time. The only good thing about COVID for me was when I was out on the road, no one else was.
Yeah,
So
empty.
that's when I decided to see, okay, how fast am I able to actually get this guy going.
What was your favorite race that you have done?
My favorite race probably was the first time I ever really broke a heart, and that was against the Trackhawk. His tag is East Coast Jeep
Wow.
SRT.
Okay.
I can call him out because we raced the second time and he got his win.
That's
But
true.
that first
True.
one was a really important one. It was a Mopar event, and he hadn't raced his Trackhawk yet. He had raced a lot of
Okay.
Jeep SRTs, and he knows racing. He's a great guy. His name's
Right.
Ron. We were lining up, and I could tell he was sort of excited, like, oh, I'm going to race a Kia. Now he did know about the Kia and know what the Stinger was capable of. He
Hmm.
assumed I was slightly modded, and I was, but it still should have been him taking the win. But he needed a driver modification that time, and he didn't have one. So we launched, and the rest is history. His crew invited me out on a cruise. It was a Mopar cruise, and I know part of the reason was so on the road we could line up a little bit
Oh
at
gosh.
speed, and I could tell you I knew exactly what all these Jeep Trackhawks looked from behind.
So we're gonna now just kind of talk about your car club. So we have it here, Kia Stinger Alliance. So where are you guys based out of?
It's the tri-state area would be the because that's where it started. Although we've had for some of our shows we've had people come as far out as was it Maine, Florida,
Wow.
Texas. I think Texas might have been the furthest.
What would you say that that is your part of? This is why we're here to help the community. What are some things that you guys have done?
We well, one thing we had noticed and that exists even in a small niche community is you have those clubs that are they're not as inclusive.
Mm.
They might be inclusive, but they literally think they're like oh we run the Taco Bell parking lot. Like no you don't. I'm gonna get my tacos regardless.
Right.
We and online you know how online can be. There's people whether or not they're truly rotten or just like playing around. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of negativity.
Yeah.
We had the unfortunate situation being Kias to know that we were going to have people in these larger groups, these larger stinger groups that were, traditional car people who maybe don't have the best attitudes, and they did just so happen to buy a stinger. But all of
Mm-hmm.
the haters that go in to literally say, like, "Oh, it's a Kia, it's gonna blow up," all those different things,
Yeah.
little K cars, or the ones who came in who got gapped and now just want to, offer up some hate just because of that. We noticed that in the larger groups that was becoming prevalent,
Mm.
and there was still gatekeeping, and there was still the all powerful. There's a search feature, which I cannot stand that comment. We know there's a search feature. I'm
Yeah.
asking for real time right now stuff so I could talk to you and perhaps talk to you in real time privately.
Yes.
When we
Yes.
started noticing that, and then we also noticed that there wasn't a localized in-person club in our area, we decided we wanted to simultaneously have a an online presence while we're developing our in-person presence.
Right.
Where older car clubs they have a in-person presence, which makes sense, and then they shift to an additional online presence. We ended up flipping it in part because there's not a lot of stingers around, so we knew a lot of
Right.
our car camaraderie would happen digitally. But when we decided to start our page, specifically, we knew that it was going to be heavily policed. With the rule is you are going to be respectful and
Mm-hmm.
kind, or you're going to be quiet. And that is something that we thought was really, really important. And we found out it did transfer well over to our shows because people had told us they found such comfort in our group, particularly new car enthusiasts. Because a lot of people who got the stingers, there's two types of people. There were middle-aged people who wanted something fast, had gotten a bunch of
Yeah.
fast things, but wanted something more practical, all-wheel drive, four doors. Um, and then new people because it was at least early on a very reasonably priced car,
Right.
you know, for what it was coming with. So you had people who didn't know much about cars. They maybe knew that oil needed to be changed, but didn't know how to change their own oil. So
Like me.
yeah, but we didn't want people to get jaded, because
Yeah.
this is a hobby, and people's time is it's valuable. And
Yeah.
if you're not spending your extra time doing something that's helping you grow, helping you learn, or helping you feel good, then that can't be a hobby. It's a waste of time. And that was really big for us, in part because most of the people who started our club,
Hmm.
we're all in between our late 30s and you know, mid 40s. So we've experienced a lot of the negatives.
Do you guys host shows, or do you guys do like more cruises? Like, what type of car club
Okay.
are you?
That's a good question. Um, we've tested out all of the waters. We have definitely done. We like doing the show cruise or cruise show
Hmm.
thing. It's typically start off with a cruise, so you know, meet at a central location, and or multiple central locations
Right.
if
Right.
you know, and let's all cruise to the same spot, and that's where we'll do our, you know, camaraderie stuff, because nothing beats a cruise when you're rolling 20 or 50 deep.
Yeah.
I feel bad for all the other people on the road.
They'll be all right.
Yeah, but I
They'll get
mean,
over it.
yeah, and they get a show. They get to
Yeah.
appreciate all these cars. But we definitely like doing the cruise thing because we
Hmm.
all love driving. And there's communities where they're not so much a driving community. Like the super low cars, they can't drive anywhere
Yeah.
because, you know, but
Yeah.
they can show beautifully. You know, you
They
get them on a flat
can.
surface, they're gorgeous, and that's what they do 9 times out of 10. We wanted to sort of do a little bit of both, and we preferred, we haven't had a show or a meet in a little while, but we've always preferred when there was an opportunity to do the cruise show, and wherever we're showing race. That
Mm.
was the big part of it, because we knew
Okay.
that no one considered Kia to be a show-worthy car, and certainly no one considered Kia to be a race-worthy car.
Right.
So if we had the opportunity to cover all those bases, we were gonna we were gonna make a presence. Our last show, we had people from across the country make it out to New
Hmm.
Jersey, and we had 78 stingers, which is
Wow.
I mean, for our community is a huge amount, because I you don't see stingers on the road,
Yeah.
and that was a great high point. Then COVID happened and a few other things. So we're talking about what's our next thing, because we got a lot of new owners who
Hmm.
got into the community because they did see some of this positive stuff with all these clubs, and they saw these stingers at the track, and they're asking like, when is, you know, when can we all get
Right.
together? So there's a lot of smaller things happening, a lot of meets at Cars and Coffee, but going to these large shows, and there's certainly a lot of cruises because you don't have to go
Yeah.
anywhere, but going to these larger shows like you know, the Elite Tuner show and stuff like that, we need to do that. We need
Yeah.
to jump back on.
No, that would be so dope just to go to these shows and just see a whole bunch of kids just turn up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do make an entrance.
No, you would. And it, like you're saying, because it's not so many when you guys pop out, like Kendrick said, I ain't gonna say it now, but
Yeah,
we know what he
we
said.
know what he's.
So even kind of just moving forward, are you looking to do any more mods, or are you done?
Oh,
Are you
it's never finished.
No, you're never finished. Are you done for now?
I was done for temporarily done for about a year and a half, where I satisfied all my sponsorship agreements,
Hmm.
and basically told future sponsors I'm not racing right now. Part of that was because I was no longer accepted or invited to ATCO after they started closing, because I was involved in the push to prevent them from closing, and I was also, like I said, a shameless self promoter, so I made no secret that I was trying to prevent it.
Yeah.
And the owner found out and was like, "Okay, well, you're not coming back here for a while."
You got
Um,
banned right
I did.
before it closed.
I got banned right before it closed, and it's hard to sneak in because at the time I wasn't even wrapped, and I'm a bright yellow Kia.
Yeah, no, they spot you from a
Hmm.
mile away.
So the first time I went, after I hadn't realized, some of us got letters. I didn't get a letter, probably because it was all through Cato the Kia Stinger. My personal page
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
involved. But as I pulled up, they normally say spectator or racing, and they said you have to spectate. And I was like, I knew what they meant. I was like, well, what do you mean? I race. And they're like, you don't race here anymore.
You try to play dumb.
I did. And I was like, well, I guess I'll spectate. And I still drove up to the spot to where to see if I could get. They were like,
Escort you right back out.
mm-hmm. Maybe it was all of the Mopar people saying, "Listen, I'm sick and tired of seeing
We didn't
the
show
tail
up.
lights.
We didn't show
I'm
up.
sick of the tail lights of that yellow Stinger. Can we just do something about it?"
You're lucky that we're actually cool, you know, because
Yeah.
all this Mopar shade, I don't
And you know,
know.
it's kidding.
So now we are moving into the 5 gear fast round. So basically, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. It's going to be quick questions, so you have to answer them fast. So whatever comes out your mouth, that's what comes out. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. First question. Best car movie?
Fast Furious.
Duh. Okay. Number 2. Make your favorite car sound.
Make my favorite.
Yes.
Vroom.
So is that what your car sounds like when you're driving?
Exactly like that. Yeah.
Can you do it again? Because I don't think we heard you the first time.
Vroom. Oh,
I
thank you
like
for
the
this.
ending.
Thank you for this. This makes me feel great.
Okay, number 3. Car you would never buy or drive.
Car I would never buy or drive.
Mm-hmm.
What year is your car?
Tesla. What?
I'm kidding. You answered it for me. No, you did answer it for me. And no hate on electric or Tesla. It is not for me. I will not buy or drive a Tesla.
I don't. I don't. The Tesla, like the regular Teslas are. I think it's just a cyber truck.
It looks like a high-end refrigerator on its
It
side. It does.
does. The stainless steel ones. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I wonder like somebody just start putting magnets all over it.
That would be brilliant. I would like that.
I would do like
know?
if I ever for some reason got one, I would put magnets on it. Because I collect magnets.
So there you go.
When I go traveling, I have different magnets. Stick them all over.
I feel bad for those who are driving behind you at some point. Magnet from Arizona just flies back.
Or can you imagine like the alphabet letters? I'll just spell out words.
That's great. Little
that
messages.
Would be nice.
See, I like that. So maybe get us.
I would get one for that specifically, just to put magnets on it.
It's a big investment for magnets. For your magnet game.
$150,000.
Because I love magnets.
All right, number 4. You got 2 more. Best car snack.
Best car snack.
Because we all got snacks. We all have some type of snack in our car, or we're always eating something.
Kinder Bueno.
What?
The Kinder Bueno chocolate.
Are those like little eggs?
No, they're not the eggs. Same company. They're like little bar. You need one.
Oh.
You need to have one. It's too hot for me to keep in my car. I would keep a stockpile, not when it's hot out. And Pez.
They still make Pez?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just have Pez straight from the. I don't mess with the whole Pez dispenser. I don't load it up.
Oh.
It's just the little packs of Pez.
Yeah, but then why would you do that without the Pez dispenser? That doesn't make sense.
Because Pez is delicious.
But why would you use it without
because
the dispenser?
you have to waste the time to actually load it up. Do you ever try to put Pez in a Pez dispenser? It's like
so I have not. I've never had a Pez, but I've seen them and they're fun. I've had the dispenser as a toy because I like them.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big candy person, so I never had it. But I would assume if you're eating Pez, you should use the dispenser.
Someone would load the dispenser for me. I'm willing to use it, but I'm straight. I take it straight. Just whole handful right in the mouth. No joke. I take my Pez very seriously.
Like, think about it. When you have certain things, it's like it's part of the package. So you just pop in Pez's.
Oh yeah. I'm no nonsense.
I would have to side eye you. I would judge you for that because at the end of the it's a package deal. That's like saying this is very far fetched, but this is the only thing that came to mind. That's like dating somebody with a kid and saying I don't want your kid.
Wow, that's rough.
I know it's a very harsh probably analogy, but that's all I got. But it makes sense when you think of it like that.
I gotta start thinking that's pretty deep.
But it makes sense. You are a package deal with your kid.
You're gonna make me now have to contact Pez and have them develop a Cato Pez dispenser just so I can eat Pez from a proper dispenser.
Hey Pez, we're looking for sponsorships. Okay? Let's get to it. We want some customized Pez dispensers. Two bright colors too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not from this angle, but yeah, you can't see the yellow from this angle.
If you race me, you'll see the yellow.
Okay. Okay. Back to the shave. Okay. Be smart on this last question.
Okay.
DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Good choice. I love that you didn't hesitate.
Oh yeah, I grew up
Because
on Marvel.
I wasn't sure where this was gonna go though. Like I thought you were gonna be shady and say DC.
No, DC people are weird to me.
They
I mean,
are.
they love Superman or Bat. I love Superman and Batman, by the way. But when they start getting into the other characters, like they are a different type of person. I don't understand them. They just don't. I mean, sorry, DC. But yeah, no, it's Marvel all
No,
the way.
Marvel gang over here. I don't like Flash.
Likewise.
I have Oh, you like Flash? Hmm. Well, I don't. I think Flash is just awkward. Well, I saw him at Six Flags, so you know
The real one.
the impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw one at Six Flags, and he turned me off. And from that day, I never liked anything Flash. That's actually why I don't like Flash.
What did he do?
I don't want to say because it was just one of those like weird things that like just cringe.
Okay.
And it just put a bad taste in my mouth. And of course I saw him as Flash, so I just associate Flash, the character, with that guy.
Well, that's
so
it.
He messed it up for me.
He ruined Flash for you.
Yeah, so I saw the last movie for like a couple of minutes, then I left. I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't remove.
So I don't know if it was good. I just didn't care. I just saw the guy from Six Flags. So whoever you are, I know you probably don't know who you are, but you ruined it.
One less fan.
But you did very well on those answers. I really enjoyed your car sound. One more time for the road. Woo! Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's gonna be somebody's ringtone. Like if we still have ringtones, that would be mine.
It could go viral maybe. That'll be my one. I've been trying to get a sound to go viral. I've been trying to get something to go viral. That would be the one.
There's the
T-shirts.
We still have to do, okay, you guys don't know our highway hugs. I talked about that before. I was like, oh my God, we forgot all about it.
Oh yeah.
But I remembered as soon as I got here. But it's okay. We're going to have those highway hugs. So just, of course, so you guys can know what we're talking about. I don't even know. How did we, like, initially connect? Like, I don't remember. Somebody followed somebody, I guess.
Yeah, I probably followed you.
But then I think I saw you. Yeah, and then I saw you on the road. And of course, you know your car.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember seeing you on the road. So that's why this is the highway hugs, okay? Because we see each other. Plus, we always meet a lot of people on the road sometimes. Mm-hmm. I'm always getting like pictures of my car going down the highway or like at a stoplight, something like that. So it's always pretty nice when you get that, except for the times where I'm trying to be like incognito, but you can't.
Yeah,
I really can't. I'll be at ShopRite and you get a picture.
Mm-hmm. People wait in there, and I'm like, I gotta walk slower to my car. Hopefully, they walk away.
I know. Thank God for alarms, because sometimes I just turn on the alarm, and then people, disperse like ants, and then you just make a beeline to your car and you dip out. That's kind of how to do it.
What you could do is you go there thinking they're the owner and be like, oh, I really love your car, and they don't want to talk about it, so they'll walk away, and then as soon as they go, you just jump in, bounce.
Do you have any other tips on how to avoid talking to people that are by your car?
How to avoid talking to people. I sort of always want to talk. I have ADD. I always want to talk. So the thing is they'll know very quickly that they made a mistake by standing there. They're in my house now. I'm technically an introvert, but when I get into something I'm interested in, or if I see kids, that's who excite me.
Kids shouldn't even be included in how we treat people at all. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, the kids, that's the best moment of it. Those reactions are just so pure.
Yes.
Kids don't lie. Yep. If they don't like it, they will say they don't like it. Yeah. But if they do, they will rave. And it's just because we were once those kids.
That's exactly what it is.
We really were. So to see it now, to say like I'm the adult that they're talking about, like I was once that kid
Yep.
looking at an adult and now I'm the adult.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So out of any other reaction, like I don't care about everybody else's. The kids,
Mm-hmm.
if you like my car, I did something right.
Absolutely. That's it.
So we love the kids and we're parents of ourselves. So anything that we can kind of do to even just put a little smile on their faces, even if they aren't ours, it's just nice to do. So I love it. Yes.
Definitely agree.
We do it for the kitties and for ourselves, but for the kitties.
Yes. For the future generations.
Yes, absolutely. So it was great talking to you today.
Likewise.
So that concludes this episode of the Furiously Fast podcast. And I thank you all for joining. We will be back here again. And Scott, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.